going on, guys? Kivox here, and we did our favorite books, and now we're going to do our not favorite books, also known as They Sucked, and we do not recommend them, so be warned.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some controversy here, and people are going to hate us.
We're not...
Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt, by the way, because
Oh, you're disgusting. I'm totally not wearing the same shirt.
We filmed these back to back. Don't hate us. You do you. If you like these books, good for you.
If you don't like them, even better for you.
Mine are in any sort of order.
No.
So
I feel like if a book sucks, it's on par with the suckage of the other suck. Like there isn't like the worst and the worst best. It's like no, they all suck. They're all even.
Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas.
I take it that this one had some hype behind it a little bit.
It's just that this whole series has hype. I mean, anything by Sarah J Maas has a very split divide. So, like, you either love it or you hate it. I'm kind of like, I like it, and I do enjoy all of her series. I don't think they're overly, like, amazing, but I don't think they suck either. I will continue. I mean, I've read all of her books besides the one that just came out, The Kingdom of Ash. I haven't read that yet. This one was terrible. It was just a bunch of awkward sex, and I feel like this whole book, which is like just a novella, really could have been 2 chapters in one of the other books, and it would have been fine. But they drew out, like, the sex scenes. They drew out, like, Christmas gifts. They did.
They milked it.
And they just, like, drew out, like, Christmas gift buying, basically their Christmas that's not Christmas. And I was just bored. Nothing happened in the entire book. Nothing. It was so boring. I felt like this was terrible. Like, honestly, you shouldn't even read this. Just Google what it's about, and that's it.
Yeah, you go, girl. I want to mention a book that we do not have here.
Crap, I meant to do that too.
That is called, what is it called again?
Yours, Annihilation.
Annihilation. They made a movie about it. It had Padme
Did you watch
in it.
The movie?
I did.
We did.
It had Padme
We
in
did,
it, remember?
yeah, we did, yeah. It wasn't that bad.
We rented it from Redbox.
Yeah.
All right? And it was terrible. The movie, I feel like, was better than the book.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
It was strange. But the book was just, like, so boring. And I love fake science, and that's pretty much what it was. But it was, like, boring, and it was, like, it's an old book, correct?
I don't know.
I believe it's a decently old book. If I'm wrong, it doesn't matter, really, does it? But it's written like an older book. Do you know what I mean? And by older, I don't mean like 50 years old. I just mean like older than all these we read mostly new books. It was boring. It was short, though. That's the best thing about the book is it was short.
And then my one that I don't own a physical copy of, that was one of my least favorites of the year, unfortunately, was Lifelike by J. Kristoff.
You love J. He's like your author crush. Like, oh, wait. What's his face?
R.A. Salvatore.
But he's like a close second, right?
So.
And he's like Australian or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he has like a cool accent.
Honestly,
unlike
I love.
But we met, what's his face?
We did meet R.A. Salvatore.
We did.
He was very nice.
He was very nice.
I love Nevernight and God's Grave. This book, my God. Oh, and I also love the Illuminae Files. Fantastic. I haven't read Jay's first trilogy, which kind of makes me, like, scared now. But Lifelike was just awful. Like, the writing, I'm sorry, but it was so bad. The what do you call them?
Cyborgs, androids.
No. Well, yeah, but it was about that. But I feel like the sci-fi element wasn't that interesting. The story was not interesting. I didn't care. The main
They're
characters.
called Lifelikes.
Yeah, no, some of them are. The main characters annoyed the crap out of me. Their language, the way they spoke, everything was just like, I can't think of the word.
Proper?
No, it was
robotic?
Like slang.
Oh.
Like, everything was slang, the entire book, and it was so annoying, because you had to learn their slang, and then they used it ad nauseum. It was so bad. I never even bought it, and I am never going to buy it, and the next one's coming out soon, and I am not going to read that book. Not going to happen.
My turn?
Your turn.
All right, I don't know what this one is. Oh, The Bone Season.
You DNF'd that book.
I did not. It was boring. It was like, I was reading, I'm like, I want to die the whole time. It was just like, everything was so predictable, and then I got to a point, and you were like, look, if you don't like it, just don't finish it. And I'm like,
it's okay to DNF stuff.
I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know that was an option. You are totally right. That's what I need to do. And then I just didn't finish it, and I'm like, so what happened? And you were like, this, and I was like, oh my, thank goodness I didn't spend an extra 5 hours finishing that thing.
This is gonna be like a 6 to 7 book series.
Doesn't need
7?
to be. Just.
I think I gave it a 3, which is kind of like, eh. I'd probably downgrade it to a 2 about now. I go back and re-rate stuff all the time. Like, I'll feel like if it doesn't stand the test of time, you need to downgrade some stuff.
It's basically like a vampire story, but they're not vampires, but
and
they're basically vampires. They have all like the knowledge like a vampire does, you know, like the mystique that a vampire comes in, and it's like, ooh, they know so much, and they're so wise and old, and all of this, and then you have like
but it's been done better.
Yeah, I mean, even Twilight, I feel like did it better.
Twilight's awesome.
Twilight, the books are
People
pretty.
can
The
hate
books
all
are pretty
you want.
good.
I love Twilight.
What ruined Twilight was the movies. The books were like
yeah.
decent books, like they were pretty good, and the world that they created were great. And then Shades of Grey came out, and oh my god, that's terrible. I'm sorry about that. That was a fanfic of Twilight.
Oh.
Originally.
Oh.
You didn't know this. Fun fact,
yeah.
I'm the booktuber now.
Hey, this one, I think I gave it a 3. Like I said, I'd probably give it a 2 now. It's just predictable, and the characters are not entertaining, and they're not great characters, and I don't care about any of the characters. I do not care about continuing this.
I gave it a DNF. Don't give a
Meek. This is going to be a little bit spoilery.
Oh, it's not my turn. I thought it was my turn.
For people that have read, that are in the book club right now, because this book is our current book club pick, and that is Sadie by Courtney Summers. I think I give this a 2. It was way too predictable.
This is a DNS for me.
Do not what? Wait,
start.
You're not. Yeah.
Do not start.
I pretty much told him, like, even though this is our book club pick, I pretty much told him, like, don't even bother. Like, seriously.
DNS. We're starting that. That's a new thing. So this is our DNS pick for the month. Don't just avoid it.
So I don't want to go into too much detail because it is going to be on the live stream, but essentially you're reading through the perspective of Sadie through a good portion of this book. And the whole thing is, like, you're trying to find Sadie. So, I didn't feel like she was really lost, and I didn't feel like it was really that pressing of an issue to find Sadie. And then the ending, just no. Just no. That's all I have to say is no. You don't deserve this bookmark. Give me this bookmark.
Look who it is. Let us know down below if you guys know who that was.
Doesn't deserve it. Yes.
And now we have
Contagion.
Contagion, aka trope sci-fi space dumb story that everything. It's a Contagion in space. And guess what? That's what it is. If you watch any sci-fi movie, like let's say Aliens or another Aliens movie, it's pretty much that. There's a Contagion. It kills some people. Then the rescue team comes, and then guess what? They have to deal with this contagion.
All right, don't give it all away.
That's what it is. It's like, come on. It's like, hey, and then there's like, other parts of the story, but it's that.
I haven't read this yet, but I did like this author's other stuff, so I'm still willing to give it a try, even though, because you hated the other one too, which we'll talk about later.
That one's coming up as well.
This is also a very recent read. I've had some terrible recent reads at the end of the year, and that is Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis.
First of all, look at this cover. Show them the cover. Like, come on. If you really, you're gonna pick that up, you're gonna be like, this, I could tell, is gonna be so good because look, she has a little cup of something, and there's some fireflies in there. That's right. I said fireflies.
There's no fireflies.
There's some light.
She does magic.
Oh, she puts light in a vase.
No, she does. So basically, this girl wants to get into an alchemy school. She wants to become a medical alchemist.
So why is she making light? Is that part of being a medical alchemist?
All right, what?
This is saying. How is making light in a jar?
I don't know.
Part of medicine.
Because that's a crucible, and like I think that's what they call them.
A crucible it's for heating things, like melting metal. That's what a crucible is for.
Anyway, so at the same time that she goes to this alchemy school, there's this plague killing the earth, and
is this a love story?
Trying. There is love in it, and
is it like
stupid?
Is it a big part of it?
not a huge part,
It's
but
in
it's
the
enough.
title.
It's enough, and it's boring. I thought, so you read through two people's perspectives of the girl and the guy. There is no point for the guy's perspective to be there. It's just boring and has no reason. I found myself bored like 75% of the time in this book. I didn't feel like enough was happening. I feel like it was very redundant, and it was just boring. And I don't really recommend it. The ending wasn't that great. They tell you what happens in the end right in the beginning, so it's not that great.
What is it? What happens?
You want me to tell you?
Ooh, you read that?
No.
Okay, you didn't finish that one, right?
So, The Traitors Game by Jennifer... I don't remember much about this. It sucked that bad. I read it kind of in the beginning of the year because this is an arc. It came out in February of 2018. I remember that there was some girl who got sent away because she was like a princess-ish, but she wasn't really a princess. And then there was some like sword that they had to find that was gonna like save the world, and she had to go find this sword. But one of the things that I found really annoying is like all these crazy intricate things that, you know, the world hasn't been able to figure out for 1,000,000 years. This girl, this teenage girl, just randomly figures it out, and she figures out all these crazy things in like no time. It's like, oh, there's this super intricate thing that no one's been able to figure out for 200 years, and guess what? I just solved it in 5 minutes.
Good job. Now my turn. We both read this. This wasn't one of your least
This is
favorites.
actually probably, if I were to make a separate video, and I may do this next year, I'm not going to do it this year. Because of school, I didn't read as much as I usually do. But I want to do a most disappointing books of the year. Because that's not necessarily the same thing.
Whoa, put that finger away, girl.
I didn't have high hopes for this. I had high hopes for this. So to me, that's disappointing. That is the
Poopy War is what as I like to call it, because it was a piece of poop. It wasn't as bad as I just made it sound, but it was very disappointing.
I think I gave it a 3.
And it had such potential.
It did. The
But
beginning was so good.
Like the first third, I'd say, was pretty good, and then this part 2 comes around because it's separated into 3 parts, right? Part 2 comes around, and it was just like, it was like a different author took over.
You finished it, right?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
It was like a different author took over, and I was like, what's happening? Why are they throwing me into this? It's almost like another book started.
Yeah.
And it was like, I gave you the synopsis for the first book. Hey, now write the sequel to it.
Yeah. It was weird.
It didn't feel like the same characters anymore.
Seriously, like the main character changed drastically, became way more annoying. By the end of the book, I couldn't stand her. Could you?
No.
I mean, I gave it a 3.
And I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I guess I could care less. No, I couldn't care less.
You couldn't care less. Because if you could care less, then it wasn't rated as bad as you thought.
I couldn't care less about what happened, and I don't... Is there a sequel to this? Yeah, I know there is, because the ending was terrible, and it definitely sequeled it. Just don't read it. It's not a read.
I don't know. A lot of people love this book, and like I said, I actually had an e-arc, and I started it, and then I was promoting the crap out of this book because I was like, oh, it's so good, it's so good. You guys could buy it. You should buy it, and you should read it. And I feel like this book definitely has very mixed reviews. So some people love it and say it's like their best.
I think you may have liked it more, and then I was like,
yeah.
I was like, hey, Meek, this is why you shouldn't like it, and I ran you through the whole story and what the problems were. Which sometimes you get those blinders, you know?
Yeah.
You get the hype from all of your favorite booktubers.
I loved the first part so much, and I just wanted it to be that.
More of that. It could have been that for the rest of the book, and then part 2 could have been the next book.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
definitely.
and that would have made more sense. Exactly. You would have hated the second one.
Don't really recommend this.
Poopy War, pass.
Some people love it, so who knows. This was a DNF for me. Serpentine by Laurel K. Hamilton. Part of the Anita Blake series. It's number like 26 or something crazy. Now, mind you, I don't normally hate those series that go on forever, but I feel like I don't understand why this book is 480 pages. I read maybe through 50 pages, and I thought it was the most boring thing ever. It was terribly written. You'd think after 26 books you get better at writing. But it was terrible. And the character, Anita Blake, I used to love her back in the day. I thought she was awesome. She was very badass, very, just okay with herself and who she was. And
is this fantasy at all, or is it real world-ish?
No, well, it's in the real world. It's urban fantasy, so it's in our world, but there's things like vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. But Anita Blake is not Anita Blake anymore.
Well, I mean, people change after 26 books.
I think I read 6 or 7 of the originals, or the beginning of this series. And then when they asked me if I wanted to read this, I was like, okay, well, send me a copy and I'll see if I like it. I figured they have an overarching story, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have to read one before the other. So I was like, all right, I'll jump in and see. She has changed so much. Now, like, if she had always been this way, I'd be fine with it. But the Anita that I knew and loved was not this Anita, and it was just awkward. There's a lot of very strange, stupid humor. Like, stupid humor. And, like, I don't know anyone that would find this funny at all. It was like, I don't know. I couldn't read it. It was terrible.
And now my next book was suggested by yours truly over here.
I liked it.
She highly liked it.
It's the same author as Contagion.
Oh, and guess what? It's a trope fest. It really is. Apparently, what is their name?
Erin Bowman.
It's a girl, right? Okay, so apparently Erin Bowman.
Just writes tropey stories.
Just loves tropes. It's a tropey western. I think I saw it in that basically the same story told in that latest Adam Sandler comedy with all the famous people in it. Totally reminded me of that, by the way. I was like, because that movie was terrible, but it was like a tropey western comedy, you know.
This was without the comedy.
This was like without the comedy, so it was like, what's the point?
I liked the characters. I liked the plot of it.
By the way, the name of the movie was Ridiculous 6, and it was ridiculously bad. And this wasn't as bad as that movie, but it fell into a lot of the same, like, you know, oh, you're my long lost child and stuff, and you know, I gotta get revenge on my parents' murderer. That was my southern accent there. I don't even remember like what the story was, but I remember those were like my biggest. It was super short. Like, look at this. It's like 10 pages long.
I super enjoyed it. I gave it a 4. I don't know. We have different tastes when it comes to certain things. I don't mind tropey stories if it's done well. So if it's got a lot of tropes, but as long as it's written well and it's done well, I like it. And I didn't think it was that bad.
It wasn't that good either. But here's the thing about it. Right? Here's the thing about tropes.
It's pretty.
The cover is the cover. That's why I picked it.
And it's got a very leathery.
I picked it because the cover was nice. But tropes are good, but only when they're like you gotta like use one trope. Don't throw all the tropes in there if you're making a western. You know?
Or like Brandon Sanderson says, you can use tropes, but put your own twist on it. Yeah. You know, if you want to be the guy saving the princess from the tower, that's fine. He didn't use this as an example, but do something a little different.
But this is excellent. That's a good, like, you know, don't use the flower power. You know, just go in without any mushrooms, and it'll be easier. Brandon Sanderson teaches a class about writing, and even though I have zero interest in writing, it's very interesting, and you can find it on YouTube. Is it like his YouTube channel though? No. So no. Are you sure that it's legal? Yeah. Okay. It's very interesting if you care about how writers write. So the thing is, my favorite books are always ones that I don't expect. Take something like Scythe, right? It's just a completely different scenario that I've never seen before, that I've never experienced. So it was like, whatever that story is, it's going to be new to me. It's not going to be the same. I feel like that story may have been told before and we just didn't read it. So now you may read something that's older than that, even though you read Scythe first and you liked it better just because it was the first one that you read. Yeah, but you just gotta look up the year that it was written and compare them. So my last book, not in any particular order, was The Bells by Danielle Clayton. So many people love this book, and it bored me to death. I don't know why I didn't DNF this book. So what I heard people say, allegedly, I don't know for reals, because I didn't read the author saying this or anything, but I've heard people say that she was upset by who got ARC copies of this, and that people were giving it
biased reviews, basically, and the arcs weren't given to the right people. I could be wrong. Maybe the author never said this. That kind of makes me angry if she did. I just feel like it wasn't well written. The story was boring. There was nothing crazy that happened. There were no oh my god moments. It just seemed very bland and boring, and I didn't care. The main character was boring. And nothing happened. And I will not be continuing with the
There's
next
more
one.
to that?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
It was very boring to me. Some people love it. I mean, maybe it's your type of
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Your type of tea.
But it's not mine. All of our fire alarms are dying. They're being faulty. So sorry for the downer fest.
No, this is the point of this video. Go check out, if you want, like, good books, go check out the other video. We'll link to it up there somewhere. But this was the ones that to avoid. So this isn't a downer thing. This is like, hey.
We're giving you a heads up.
We're just don't read
these.
these.
If you don't listen, it's your fault.
That's your fault. You don't want to get burned.
But that being said, you do you. If you like these books, let us know down below. If we're bashing on one of your favorite books, we're sorry. But, you know, that's why there's a billion books out there. You're not wrong. That's why there's a billion books out there, so everyone can have something they like. But let us know down below what you guys think of these books, if you've read any of them, or if you recommend we read certain books.
I think you guys should go check out the other video because we're doing a giveaway on that one for some books. And
they're really good books.
It's a pretty good chance of winning one.
Mm-hmm.
So go check that out. Remember the link's up there.
There. No, there?
This side, Mika. This side.
There.
Come on. It's always on my side. Per the usual, as of the last couple videos, we want you to incorporate the word
cherries. I like this new game. It's fun. It lets you know who actually watches the video to the end.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So we'll know who's in the notification squad based on that. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Kivox. This is Meekachii. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And
bye.
bye.